Welcome to Small Firm Big Impact Express, your 5-minute update designed specifically for smaller accounting firms across Australia and New Zealand. I'm your host for today, Simon Reid, founder and director at PPS Advisory. In this episode, we're looking at the PPSA risk that smaller firms can easily overlook, especially when advising clients on asset protection structures, equipment leasing, or hire arrangements. In just 5 minutes, we'll break down what's changed, why it matters, and what to do next. So let's get into it. Okay, what's happened? For many accountants, the PPSA still sits in the background until something goes wrong. But the issue is this: clients can lose valuable business assets, not because the structure was wrong, but because the right PPSA steps were never taken. A common example is an asset protection structure. A client sets up one entity to hold plant or equipment and another entity to operate the business. On paper, that makes a lot of sense. The asset holding entity leases the equipment to the trading entity, and the idea is that if the trading business fails, the assets stay protected. The problem is that the structure alone is not enough. Compliance with the PPSA is critical. If an asset protection structure creates a security interest, which it will do, it must be properly registered. Otherwise, those assets may not be protected in an insolvency scenario in the way the client expects. We also see similar issues where a business hires, leases, or supplies equipment to its customers. If the customer becomes insolvent and the interest has not been properly protected, the business may lose its ownership interest and the very asset itself. So this is not just a technical legal issue. It can affect everyday commercial arrangements that many accountants see across their client base. So why does all this matter? A client may believe their machinery, vehicles, or other equipment are protected, only to find they cannot recover them when the trading entity or their customer collapses. In some cases, they can lose the asset and still remain liable to the financier of that asset. That can turn into a major financial shock for the client, especially in smaller businesses where a handful of assets may be critical to generating income. It also matters for accountants because these structures and arrangements are often established with accounting input. Even where PPSA compliance is not strictly the accountant's responsibility, clients may still ask, "Why didn't anyone warn us?" That creates risk not only for the client, but potentially for the advisor relationship as well. For smaller practices, this is really about spotting the exposure early. If you are helping clients set up structures, reviewing how assets are held, or working with businesses that lease, hire, or supply equipment, this is an area worth paying attention to. So what should you do next? First, identify which clients may have PPSA exposure. That could include clients with asset protection structures, related entity leasing arrangements, financed equipment, or equipment that is leased, hired, or supplied to its customers. Second, don't assume the structure itself does the protection work. A structure may be commercially sensible, but if the PPSA requirements are missed, the intended protection may fall away when it matters most. Third, raise the issue early. You do not need to be the legal expert to add value here. In many cases, the most important step is helping the client recognize there may be a PPSA issue, and where it sits outside your expertise, encouraging them to get the right specialist advice before there is a problem. And finally, build it into your review process. If you regularly work with business clients who deal with plant, equipment, vehicles, or inter-entity asset arrangements, this is something worth including in your client conversations and checklists. A short discussion now can be far better than trying to deal with a loss after an insolvency event. So that wraps up the episode of Small Firm Big Impact Express. If this update was helpful, share it with your colleagues and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. You'll find useful resources and links in the episode notes. And for more tools, insights, and practical guidance designed specifically for smaller practices, visit the Smaller Practices Centre. You'll find the link in the description. Until next time, I'm Simon Reid. Thank you for listening.